On the show today, a helicopter maneuver never tried before, and as you can see, it's not for the faint of heart.
Daily Planet's right on board as a Red Bull chopper pilot goes for broke.
Today, we're going to take you on one wild ride.
Also on the show, we're going to be chasing a land speed record in a kite buggy. If you think that sounds crazy, wait till you see how they train. And
Daniel Lanois' experiment to make live music as enjoyable for people at the back of the crowd as it is for those up front.
Hello and welcome to Daily Planet. I'm Zaya Tong.
And I'm Jay, and we have a stellar show for you today, from why grunting is good if you're a competitive tennis player to why Tim Hortons cups are a big favorite of a certain kind of bacteria.
We're also going to show you some truly bizarre creatures that turned up in the latest census of marine life. But first, you're about to see something truly different. A pilot who pushes a helicopter to do something it was clearly never designed to do.
Called the forward flip. That's when the helicopter goes end over end like that. No one has dared to do it before because this is a deadly trick.
Our Daily Planet crew traveled all the way to Austria to see this pilot at work, and needless to say, we all flipped at what we saw.
Hangars 7 and 8 at Salzburg Airport, home of the Flying Bull Squadron and their high-performance aircraft like the BO-105. When it comes to helicopter aerobatics, the BO-105 is the best. The same is said about this man, pilot Rainer Wilke.
I open the program always with a, I call it tumble downer. Then you have a normal loop, that means a circle around. Then the backflip means you are out of a hovering position on the backwards. And the cartwheel is climbing, then turning around, and making another turn around, then going down.
He's a cool customer and a perfectionist. He can make his helicopter do things that normally only a fixed-wing stunt plane could do. But there was one move he couldn't do. He's just learned how to do it, and today he's going to demo it.
Normal, a loop goes backwards with the helicopter or with a fixed wing, and the forward flip is a loop in this direction. And this is very special, especially for an helicopter.
Special because the forward flip can cause engine failure.
If I do a loop, I have centrifugal force, so that means the fuel is always pressed to the outside of the helicopter, and the fuel pumps, which are in this position here approximately, they may give fuel to the engine. If I turn the helicopter around and do it for a longer time, a little bit longer time, then I have minus G. And that means the fuel pumps here, they will suck air. This will lead to a flame out of the engines.
Crashing and burning is not an option, so he talked to the helicopter's maker.
I've heard from Eurocopter that they made a simulation in the computer, and they said it should be possible to do it. And so I had two different ideas to try this maneuver. Both ideas are based on that I have no forward speed.
A year ago, he worked up the courage to try one of his ideas.
Ja, super.
It worked.
Super, wunderschön.
I was absolutely the first one who tried it. In the moment, I'm the only person who's doing it in an air show. So the secret is to use the direction of upward flying to make the turning around. And then, when you are in this situation, before the helicopter starts falling down, then you have this situation reached with the helicopter, and then you can only fall in this direction.
Another secret that's on his side, the BO-105.
At the time this helicopter was constructed, it was in around 1967, 68. The engineers didn't know exactly how the forces will be which work on this rotor system, and so they made everything very strong.
The blades are mounted rigidly in the rotor head. They don't flap like the blades on a normal helicopter, so they won't chop the tail off during an aerobatic move. A camera copter accompanies him. They fly away from Salzburg to avoid noise complaints. Rainer warms up with a roll. He checks for air traffic, then it's time for some forward flips.
Sehr gut.
He drops more than 100 meters, so he's got to climb back up to his practice altitude before he can do another. You can see why it took a lot of time to build up the nerve to try this for the first time.
It was a long way. The hardest way was to make it in my head, to feel free enough to do it, really. Because it's a maneuver where you have an area where you see nothing, and when you have the feeling, you fall down with a tail boom forward to the ground. And so the hardest thing is to make it clear in your head to do it.
The first few flips are okay, but now something's bothering him.
Ja, die ersten waren besser. Ich weiß, es muss irgendwas auch mit der Windrichtung zu tun haben, die von wo der kommt.
Reiner wants to do it perfectly, to come out straight, but the helicopter's twisting to the side. It's getting worse and worse.
Ja, das war gar nichts. Also jetzt glaube ich, so langsam merke ich, woran es liegt oder worauf man achten muss.
No, it's not always perfect. The tail rotor is moving towards an area where the downwash of the main rotor is still available. So that means the tail rotor loses power. And so that means that sometimes the helicopter turns a little bit more right or left. And this depends first from the wind direction I have.
The answer might be blowing in the wind, but compensating for that is really tough.
Ja, im Moment müsste ich eigentlich erstmal ein bisschen drüber nachdenken, was ich genau machen muss oder wo die Probleme liegen.
Time to head back to Salzburg. The forward flip is still a work in progress.
So that means I have to make a compromise, not too long and then turning around so that it works like a circle, and not too much on the center position to make it like this. I have to make a compromise. So that means a very small way like this, and then it works.
Geflogen wird das Programm von Rainer Wilke, 61 Jahre.
The flip might not be perfect in Reiner's eyes, but other pilots encouraged him to include it in his show routine.
I'm always very critical with my maneuvers, so from the inside I see it much more exact how it works, and mostly the spectators, they are far away and they will not really realize what is happening there.
The show must go on, and when it's done, Reiner takes a bow.
But you remember I took a tour with some of the Red Bull stunt pilots here in Toronto, right? And it's incredible how calm all of these guys are when they're performing those stunts.
I like the fact that he's really analytical too. He's not just a jet jockey out there, you know, muscling his way through it, that he's inventing the trick as he does it. And he's understanding the flow and the